We're finally back with Spectating Randoms, and I've been enjoying the game quite a bit today. I got to play it for about 4 or 5 hours. I watched a ton of streams. There was kind of a pretty hectic day for update day. Obviously, we got a little bit of early access to the Kilo, the Grau, the HDR. Now we got the Cali sticks and stuff like that too. So all of those are max leveled. I have all the attachments. Those are all rocking and rolling. We got our loadout video earlier today or previous day I'm recording this. And that was pretty good W. I think there's a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Verdansk. I think they made a ton of subtle changes to the map. Map looks visibly really good. The lighting's generally pretty good. Gulag is better. There's so many little different changes they made. But some of the most ones that people are vocal about is the changes to the plates and how that whole economy works. Money situation that it prioritizes doing contracts. So there's a lot. We're going to be spectating some randoms and we're going to see kind of what we get now that we're back on Verdansk. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of returning players that haven't played the game in a couple years. There's people that are playing the game for the first time, and there's people that have been no-lifing it forever, and they're just miserable people. I don't know how they made it happen, but we're here. We got all those different weapons. Luckily, they all found a way to fit into the meta. I think the Grau performs probably one of the better ones. Kilo is good for low recoil. AMAX does a lot of good damage. You want to use some other BO6 weapons, you kind of got good access there with the AK-74 and a few, the Cypher and whatever. And close range meta is pretty contested. I think I watched a lot of streams today. I tried a few different guns, and a lot of stuff feels really good or viable, to say the least. So we'll see kind of how that pans out if they do a weapon balancing patch, especially since there is so much difference with the game in its current state compared to what we had a couple days ago with Urzikstan. I think a lot of people were just tired of Urzikstan. It's an okay map. It's a very mediocre mid-level map. I think Verdansk is a good map. It provides a lot of value in the map, even though we played it for about 1.5 years. It was one of the better maps that we've had over time. So he's trying to like pay attention to the audio. He's camping his butt off here. I don't know what the deal is. See if we get any heartbeat sensor gameplay if they get the field upgrade. But yeah, there's a huge acclimation period. A lot of people on Twitter today are going, I don't remember it being like this. Well, it wasn't like its current state that it's in right now for very long, right? There was a lot of changes to the cost of items, buy station changes, which are also a W. I like the vertical list. Still a little bit to get used to, because sometimes if you tab, because the little parts on the bottom, it's just muscle memory's got to get there. Buying back your teammates with the push of a button instead of having to hover over the menu is W. Especially if you have enough for all of them. Just boom, it auto buys 2-3 people, which is kind of nice. And I think they dialed down the movement quite a bit. It definitely feels like, it still feels like COD, but we still have Omni movement. It's kind of like they took the original Verdansk and movement and just combined it with Omni movement, but like a dialed down version of Omni movement. I think the really thing we're missing at the moment is how responsive a drop shot is. Verdansk, I thought it was a little bit better. And then also, oh, we got gunned. There's no way, bro. The TTKs are also super fast. I don't know if you guys got to experience that. I feel like you get deleted with a lot of guns, which can feel super punishing. You're less forgiving, especially if you make a mistake. You're going to get caught out. I don't know how this person won that gunfight. That is insane, especially with the Fang. That's not a particularly good weapon. But yeah, it was nice to be back on the map. Now that it's already been time, the embargo is gone. I could talk about it. I got a chance to play Verdansk back in December. And I got to play the version we're playing very similar to now. Resolution-wise, everything looked just as good back then. That's why it was kind of hard to keep it together for some of the stuff, because I already knew it was coming. I knew it would look great. Maybe I got to up some of my resolution settings, right? Some of the render settings, because I have a lot of stuff set to low. As you can see, I get an insane number of frames on the top left. I could probably bump it up. My monitor's only 240. I could lose 100 frames and probably still look pretty good. But I got a chance to play it, and I was impressed with it then. Obviously, it wasn't with all the updated elements of gameplay. They didn't really dial in what they wanted to do to get to this point. But I'm glad where they kind of landed. I think there'll still be changes. I know a lot of people kind of get into the debates on Twitter. I don't think a lot of people understand what happened with Warzone. It was kind of like a steady improvement from Verdansk through Caldera. And there was a lot of changes that kind of happened that improved. And there was a lot of community-driven changes that happened to the game, which were generally pretty positive. But the community is very large, so sometimes people disagree. It's like with the plate situation and the contracts and the money. There's people in big disagreements on that. The TTK, wild disagreements on that between different groups of people. The way the gas moves, the zones. There's a lot of variables, right? The thing is that generally the majority of the community will have a general consensus. And what they did is when they went from Caldera to Al Mazrah, they said, screw whatever you guys have in mind. We're just going to do our own thing. And we know you're going to love it. And they couldn't have been more wrong. That's what ended up happening. They ended up doing stuff that nobody in the community was asking for. Unless you're just like a PUBG ride or die, you weren't asking for any of those things. No one wanted backpack looting. No one wanted all the other nonsense that added the game, the visual shake, the sluggish recoil, the not being able to plate and run. And you can just go on about how terrible those design decisions were. So when I talk about them continuing to make improvements, I think that this is the foundation. And even after just the first day, I think they set themselves up that this could be a really strong foundation and then continue to incorporate community feedback based off community sentiment on certain things. Maybe loadouts, you know, could cost more or less, or maybe, you know, you should be able to bunny hop. Maybe you should be able to drop shot and make it a little bit snappier. Maybe you shouldn't. I think they're going to look at those things and guide that line. And I hope that we were able to maintain this for the long haul, right? Like for like a marathon distance, instead of this being like 6-7 months, and then they try to integrate whatever multiplayer or zombies they're bringing out next game. That just is its own thing. It has nothing to do with Warzone. Sniping's also kind of crazy. Even though it's blocking out the outer edge. Oh, nice snipe. This guy is going to clutch it up. Watch. He's going to end up winning the match as a solo. He didn't get the kill. He had a Semtex. He could have probably pushed it and then thrown the Semtex. Because look on the mini-map. He's dead. Now he's dead. Whew. Will we spectate? Okay. I know that spectating's been a little bit wonky for the past 6 months or so, ever since the integration of Black Ops 6. So we'll kind of have to see how that works. We are spectating goosh. All right, we're locked in. Since we are in the second zone, we get an SMG and a pistol versus just a pistol in the first zone. And then the rest, I wonder if you guys like that. Let me know. I'm kind of a fan of it. I'm not sure if I don't like not having plates in the gulag, because I feel like you die very quick. I think you should probably have at least 2 plates, maybe not the full 3, because you die so quick in the gulag. You also kill pretty quick. See what happens with Rudy. Level 55, no prestige. We're on our second person here. They have 2 kills, one of which was in the gulag. They got their loadout, SPX, and the Lockman Shroud. Interesting gun. It is definitely competitive. It didn't get a buff like a lot of the BO6 weapons, so it's less competitive than it was before the yesterday's update. Or today's Warzone update. But it's still very good. And I would imagine it's probably pretty good sniper support too. They're going to be rocking it with the other gun. Floating loot's back too, right? I do enjoy floating loot. I felt like in today's matches, I just felt much smoother. I feel like it could be a little bit snappier still. I feel like there's instances where you kind of run over the loot and you kind of got to like walk a little bit slower before it actually joins your inventory. So hopefully that gets like sped up or a little bit more snappy. So it feels more responsive. How long has it been since we've seen a trophy system on a vehicle? It's awesome, right? Oh, he's getting beamed. This thing made of paper or not? Okay, still top 32. At least get the rotation. Playing today too, it feels like it's hard to shoot people out of vehicles. Like you don't do a lot of hit markers. So I don't know if they're specifically designed where it just makes it harder, or it's a lot of the LTV is really hard to shoot somebody out of the vehicle. And surprisingly enough, with the update, it was probably by far one of the smoothest updates I think we've ever had. And this was a pretty big update, so I wasn't as surprised because I knew they like couldn't mess up. But overall, it's pretty smooth. I think on all the platforms, relatively smooth. I think they're having some zombies issues, but that's zombies, right? That's a Treyarch issue they got to figure out. But for Warzone, it went pretty smooth. I think the servers did get DDoSed on Battle.net or whatever. Battle.net had some issues. That's a Battle.net issue for all Battle.net, whether you want to play Warcraft or whatever. They had their issues, but the actual game and its servers, relatively smooth. But like the hit connection was generally solid. I didn't really have a lot of lag. And what's crazy is it feels like too good to be true. A heartbeat sensor. We thought we'd see it. They actually pulled it out. Obviously, they had the trophy. They threw that up. Now they got the heartbeat, which kind of got buffed compared to the original version. Even though it's not unlimited, I think a lot of the distance, the pulse and the battery, like a lot of these things, it net positive is a buff. But we'll see where it ends up. Okay, gunfire sounds really far on this map. Like, you'll hear gunfire and you're like, it's kind of in that direction, even though you don't see red dots. You don't see them on a distance. You don't even see the gunfire. So I wonder if that range was increased or what's the deal with that? Because there's so many instances where like, I feel like I hear someone there. And I would imagine even with the suppressor, you're going to be able to hear that gunfire at the range and you won't see them. All right, well, we rocking, huh?
Gas is moving.
Just gonna post up. 2 kill. That is one thing that Verdansk is a little bit more conducive to. It is more conducive to a campy play style because there's a lot of these types of things. You could fish these people out or wait for them to rotate. They got to give up power positions and all these types of things depending on the zone. But these are very common spots on Verdansk. So I think if you're an aggressive player, Verdansk can sometimes be difficult unless you have a full team doing contracts and calling in, spamming in UAVs, you know? They're really not going to do anything? Are they just looking at the map or what? So we can see the map here. They're in center zone. Don't have any intel. And here's one of the things that like is kind of wonky. There's no contract over here. Maybe somebody grabbed one. Oh, there's somebody nearby. I would ping it there. Also, the clarity on the map, like these icons look so good. I like the little circle icon. I like the HUD elements of when you're playing in a quad, you can see everyone 1, 2, the colors, the number. I mean, they did a lot of things nobody was asking for, and those are small W's. By no means is the game perfect, but it's nice to have those W's are kind of across the board. The only thing that a lot of people still kind of up in the air is if Ricochet's working. And it's like, is it? I don't know. I didn't run into cheaters. I didn't really see a lot of people running into cheaters. I saw a few clips, and I think even people were live streaming on TikTok or whatever, but like how long did they have to swap accounts or did they get detected pretty? There's not enough time in the day to invest in that kind of loser behavior. But as of right now, it seems pretty smooth, but we have to wait till ranked comes out. That's really when the degenerates come out and try to abuse the system. But for the first day, not so bad. I did hear some people in the UK were struggling with it worse than normal, but you never know online. I've had people link me clips like, oh, this guy 100% cheating. I was like, well, you're on the mini map. You fired an unsuppressed weapon. Their aim looked kind of body. You just kind of gave them a clear shot. Like, are you sure you're just not bad? That sometimes happens, but there are obviously some clips of people cheating as well. This guy's really going to just post it up. It's been a while, but this is not uncommon in Verdansk. All right, cool. Vehicle coming through. Is he going to push your building? Aha. Going to hold the ladder and then shoot him as he comes up. Nope. He kept going. You're going to expose yourself? That's a hard shot to hit. Wow, okay. So there's one there and he's above. So it's going to be on that roof. This is kind of a weird push because you're kind of like giving a little bit of your position away because you're on the lower ground. It's going to try and creep up. So there's still the one behind you on that little quad where it looks like it's out of range now. It was this one over here, I believe. You might be able to sneak up on this guy and shoot him in the back, but you definitely need to get close. There it is. Hopefully he doesn't have high alert. He might have had high alert. And you gunned him. Nice. Nice. Whoa, you're dead. Ooh, he was dead anyways. He didn't hear the guy. That's the third party coming in hot. We'll see if this guy has a gas mask, because there is a gas mask there, and then there's the 8-plate satchel. Oh, he picked it up, fresh one. 8-plate satchel, doesn't have that. Still hasn't gone to the gulag. What a sweat. This guy's probably streaming. It says TTV, Didurovsky, and then a bunch of numbers, right? Those are Activision ID. 16 kills is pretty good, though. Using the Car 98, which isn't a one-shot kill, but it's a two-shot most of the time. A little bit more of aggressive play style. Whatever they had on the close range seemed pretty good, too. C9, maybe? I think the C9's a little bit versatile. People are liking it. Even though I think PPSH might be better for sniper support. I don't know. It's kind of rough. There's a lot of good options, though. AK 7.4 is probably a nasty sniper support at the moment. All right, so we got port. Nope, he's right down the right. Holy. He has quick fix on because you can see he's only plating with one hand. There's a C9. Rocked him. The TCK is so fast. There's another one getting a third party. I feel like I heard someone in front here. By the by. Gonna pop a UAV? Where are you going, dog? Did you hear something or what? Because you gotta pop the UAV. There's the UAV. He already had one? He was sitting on a UAV? So I wonder if this is a bug because it only shows one person. He's gonna pop the advanced.
Only 10 left.
That doesn't make, nah, that's wrong. Popped an advanced. It must be buggy for, because with Ghost, the guy popped up right there. Yeah, it must be buggy for spectating end zones. That's been a thing for a while. Nice. There's the 2-hit. You guys running around with the baseball bat? Got to be careful not to give away your full position here, because you're kind of exposed on the left from standing on there. There's the one. Yeah, they bring back the one shot on the car. It's going to be so toxic. It is nice to have bullet velocity on your guns with the new 2 weapons that are the main ones. Okay, close that guy out. Easy enough. Okay, not much going on this side. We know that there's like 2 people on this side. Got to get another UAV. Or maybe they are present. That's the hard part, is because the minimap gets wonky when we're spectating. Yeah, I think you can hear him. Oh, he almost potatoed.
They will not surprise me again.
Yeah, I think the UAVs are bugged out or something, because if people fire unsuppressed weapons, late game it's acting up. Earlier game, it was looking like it was working pretty well. But the fact that he popped in advance and we only saw one person until the other one fired their weapon, something's off with that. Because Ghost doesn't protect you from advanced. Okay, so he kept that. Just swap perks. Okay, someone called in a precision on the other side. Oh, there's third party.
4 remaining.
Oh, there it is. He wasn't sure where he was. That the smoke covered up quite a bit of the screen. Okay, 1v1v1v1. Oh, he spotted him, but it's too late. Is he gonna get in here in time? Haha, he's dead. Almost. Guy had a pretty good game, almost 20 bomb. He would have needed to kill all 3 players, I think. Right? Was he 17? Or was he at 18? I don't know. Car 98 as well. I think they should bring back, though, how many players are being spectated.
Inbound.
I just like that feature. And then it's kind of a red flag if somebody has too many. You're like, huh, is this guy cheating? Heartbeat sensor? You could hear him? I thought I heard him this way. And I think they are on the heartbeat, but we're not seeing it as a spectator. Ho, 100 round kilo. That makes sense up close. You don't want to risk it. You could get on the roof though. Feels like there's one on this side where they're looking now. And then there's one on the other side. So this person's kind of in a bad spot because ideally you'd want them to fight and then you would third party. Oh, they threw a stun in here. They know he's in here or they were checking it.
You've got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
This person's going to go in a bad position. I went back to the car. Living off the heartbeat. Living off of it. Not patient at all. Could have got on top of this thing if they wanted. They're going to be on the fence. See right there? He's laying down. He's laying down, bro. Bro, use your eyes. Use your eyes. Use your eyes. Oh, holy. Oh my God. All right, there it is. Last one. Clutch up time. Nice. Sold. GG's. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We're going to continue doing a lot of these spectating randoms like we used to do in the past, but a little bit more frequently since we've had a lot of gaps in between. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.